Good afternoon. My name is Landon. I am a violin maker and a violin dealer in New York City. My shop is at 1995 Broadway, around the corner from Lincoln Center. And I'm very happy to be here at Mondomusica for the second time in New York. And I've probably been to Mondomusica 12 times or 15 times already in Cremona. So here it's in New York. I could stay in my shop and hope that everybody comes uptown to see me, but I decide every year to have a big booth here. So I take my pickup truck and I move all my furnitures, the carpet and the cello stands, and I bring about 12 cellos and 20 violins and violas and bows. And it's a pleasure to be here with everybody. It's a great venue, and it's great to meet all my colleagues from all over the world like I do in Cremona. In my hands here I have the 1730 Royal Spanish Antonio Stradivarius violin. It's a very interesting violin because it was made by Antonio Stradivarius in Cremona in 1730, but the top was changed by José Contreras in Madrid in 1769, 40 years after the violin was made in Cremona. So it's a Cremona-Madrid collaboration. That violin was played by Anna Kiko Myers for the past 10 years, and we are selling it now in New York at $1.8 million. I brought the most interesting things I have in my shop. There is the Montagnana cello of Lynn Harrell that I have for sale, and also there's a copy I made of that cello. And there's a variety of instruments from Guillaume, many instruments I made, and a selection of rare Italian instruments. Yesterday it was very interesting to be a witness of the panel organized by Yung Chin and the American Orchestra League to talk with US Fish and Wildlife and Customs and people responsible for the Lacey Act and traveling with musical instruments. And I can tell you, I am the champion of traveling with instruments because I have a shop in Paris, Berlin, Shanghai, Seoul, and New York. So I am always traveling around the world. And since 2 years, I travel with instruments and no bows. So when I arrive to my destination, I have to borrow a bow from my colleagues or a bow that I left in my shops abroad. So there have been, since 1973, a ban on ivory, but since only 2 years, the Fish and Wildlife realized that there's ivory on violin bows on the tip, so they decided to confiscate any bow they can grab that has an ivory tip or a tip that looks like ivory. And it sounds a little bit like the Germans burning all the books in 1939. You know, they made a pile of all the books in every city in Germany and burned them. Fish and Wildlife is trying to do the same thing on bows that have been made 200 or 100 years ago. And it's a crazy task. So I'm very glad that I'm part of the dialogue, and I'm looking forward to work with the American Federation and with the American Orchestra League and the Fish and Wildlife and US Customs to try to find a solution to that, because we can't have musicians traveling without their bows. You need a bow to play the violin. And I do agree that there should be no ivory on a bow, because it is a crazy thing to kill an elephant now or 200 years ago to put a little piece of ivory on the tip of the bow. Most of my bows have silver tips, so I don't use ivory anymore. But sometimes I carry old bows with the original tip, so those bows they have confiscated. So it's a big problem.